Okay, welcome back. We've established your purpose, and in this video, we're going to focus on the second key to your why, your priorities. But first, I want you to recognize something. Now, you may have signed up for this course because you're really struggling with stress and overwhelm, trying to manage it all at a high level, or you may be here because you're always looking for that next inch of improvement. But either way, you should be so proud of yourself for being here because it's already sending the signal to your brain that you prioritize you. Now, this prioritization piece is really important. One thing that often happens as a consequence of the perfectionist mentality is that we get so caught up in what's next, or being the best version of ourselves all the time, or fulfilling every ounce of our potential, that we lose track of why we're doing it, which ultimately results in us not being the best version of ourselves. Why we're doing it. And a huge piece of the why is what is truly important to us, our priorities. Now, many of you on here probably experience putting yourself pretty low on your priority list from time to time. And you may know that you should be prioritizing yourself more, but when do we stop to actually make that shift? Knowing that you should be doing something and actually doing it are two very different things. So the fact that you stopped and took a few minutes out of a busy day to prioritize you and your own improvement by working through this course is huge. So let's do a little quick evaluation to get a starting point. I want you to think about what are your top priorities in life, in order. Now don't overthink it, just the three most important things to you in life. Now I'll give you a hint. For most people, these three tend to be their relationships, their career success, and their personal health and happiness. Some version of those three things. Now, yours don't have to be that, but that's just what tends to emerge. For me, mine are my personal health and happiness, my family, and my career. In order, my personal health and happiness, my family, and my career. So I want you to write down your top three. Either write them on paper or type them in your phone. But actually write them down or type them. Get them out of your brain. Now, there are probably more than three things in your life that are important to you, but you must identify the three most important and write them down in the order that you think they should be. Let's do it right now. Okay, now, I want you to write or type a number one next to the one that you're currently prioritizing the most. So if you're currently prioritizing your career first, put a 1 by career. If you're currently prioritizing your relationships first, put a 1 by relationships. And then do the same for what you're prioritizing second and third. So put a number 2 and a number 3 by what you're prioritizing second and third in your life. Now, if these numbers are aligned, that's awesome. You're way ahead of most people. Now, if your numbers aren't aligned, there is no way that you aren't experiencing high levels of stress and anxiety in your life. In fact, that stress and anxiety is serving a really great purpose for you. It's telling you that something's off and that you're in need of change. See, we think of stress as something that just sort of lives alongside us as a given. But stress, anxiety, worry, anger, guilt, these things were given to us as a gift, as an alarm system to alert us that something's not right. Something needs to shift. That's why it's so scary that we just accept stress or negative emotion. Like saying things to ourselves like, well, parenting is just stressful. That's just what I used to tell myself at a time in my life when I'd really gotten off track. Or being a working parent just means you're always going to have to be overwhelmed. Or this world is just a mess, so anxiety just goes along with that. We have to recognize that our negative emotion, our stress, our overwhelm is designed to alert us that we need a shift in our thinking, a shift in our habits, a shift in our priorities. Now, don't panic. This evaluation piece isn't designed to make you feel bad about yourself. Screw that. It's designed to put you in the position to make improvements. Now, the fact that you've just evaluated yourself puts you in the position to make improvements. No progress, and I mean zero progress, will be made without that self-evaluation. And the good news is that realigning or strengthening your priorities is surprisingly simple to fix. Most people get so lost in trying to really understand where they're out of alignment, or what the source of their problem really is, or what huge overhaul they need to make in their life, that they don't take any consistent steps toward improvement. Again, screw that. There is so much more value in putting energy into the solution, into making improvements, rather than putting that energy into fully understanding the problem. We spend enough time on the problem. Let's just get to work on the solution. Taking major steps toward getting your priorities in line doesn't require a huge overhaul. It doesn't require weeks of reflecting. It takes, number one, deciding what your priorities are, what you've just done. Number two, identifying what area needs the most improvement. And then number three, taking the consistent, concrete steps toward making that improvement. Now, to continue with number two, identifying what needs the most improvement, let's do another self-evaluation. If you think about it, to become good at prioritizing, we must become great at deprioritizing what's not important so we can be better at prioritizing what is important. We have extremely limited capacity, and most people are simply putting way too much time and energy into things that are not important, or at least not as important as their most important priorities. So I want you to think about two more questions. Number one, what is one thing that I should be prioritizing in my life right now that I'm not? Maybe this is your physical health, your mental health, your relationship with your spouse, your kids, your diet. Think about it now, and I want you to come up with one thing. Now, number two, what's one thing I should be deprioritizing in my life right now that I'm not? Maybe this is that extra organization that you're helping out with, or an aspect of your work that isn't within your job's expectations, or being on your phone, or ice cream, or other people's opinions. I don't know what it is for you, but you do. You know what is one thing that you should be deprioritizing. Now listen, you are not lazy. You're motivated, and that's evidenced by you being here in this community. But it is still incredibly common to know that you should be doing certain things, prioritizing them each day, and still somehow not get them done. I find that most people know what they should be doing, or it usually doesn't take too much digging to figure it out. So this isn't a matter of motivation or additional effort. This is really a matter of understanding how your brain works, and then doing the consistent training to be able to perform at your best and keep a handle on stress and that perfectionist mentality, and to maintain happiness in your priorities. And I'm telling you guys, it is so simple. And we're going to work through all of it together. So now we've spent some time thinking about your top 3 priorities and what you should be deprioritizing in order to make space for those things that are most important. I want you to send in your top 3 priorities into the chat. Again, mine are my personal health and happiness, my family, and my career. Yours can be exactly like mine, or they can be totally different, but you need to decide. And as you go through your day the next few days, I want you to pay attention. Pay attention to what's taking your energy and attention. Now, of course, we need to put energy into things that don't rank high on our priorities list. But we can start to pay attention to how much energy and focus we give them. There may be something that's causing you a lot of stress in life. But when you think about it in terms of your priorities, it may not seem so important anymore. You're doing great. We're setting the framework, and in the next video, we'll start turning this into your vision of self-image.